Hi YouTube, this is Joe Calton with Calton Cutlery. You can find me on the web, caltoncutlery.com. So this is a really exciting day today. I finally got done with the last batch of knives, got some outside of the shop projects done, and the bench was clean, so I figured, you know what, we're going to go ahead and break out the stereo microscope, the camera, and the TV, and the GoPro, and put them all together. We got a pile full of knives over here, and we're going to start looking at some edges really close. The toughest thing about sharpening is that you can't see what it is that you're doing, because edges are so small. Even with a magnifying glass, even though those will help quite a bit, you really can't see what it is that you're working on. And I think that's where a lot of people get the idea that sharpening is difficult, or that it's a black art, or only only us blessed few are able to sharpen a knife and have it sharper when we're done with it than what it was when we started. And that's couldn't be farther from the truth. I mean, sharpening is really easy. All you're doing is you're taking a piece of steel and you abrade both sides of that piece of steel on a stone or a diamond hone or a grinding belt or grinding wheel or anything until this bevel and this bevel meet together at a point that is as small as you can get it. Okay, that's all sharpening is. You're rubbing a piece of steel on a rock. Okay, but the tough part is that knowing when you're sharp, when you're getting a burr, when your angles aren't matching up. That's the tough part, is because you can't see it. And I'm hoping to fix that with this outfit. So we'll take a look at some of it. The star of the show here is the stereo microscope. I don't remember the brand, but it's it's a pretty nice scope. And I got the version that's got the third port here, so you can look through your eyepieces, and then it's got the third port here so that you can put a camera on it. And right now it's my wife's old camera. She's really into photography. I'm not, so I don't really know how to use that much of it, but it's a Nikon, I don't know, something or other. It's a big old fancy camera with a lot of buttons. We've got the spare TV from downstairs. It's a 27-inch Emerson, and right there you can see, right now I've got the magnification pretty much on the lowest setting there, and that is the date, 1994 on a dime. I might have to kill that light there. You have to bear with me. I'm running, the cameras. Yeah, there's a dime right there. So that's what you're seeing, is the date on that dime. Now why is it not oh, I know, the camera timed out. It said we weren't using it enough, I guess. There we go. Okay. Yep, there's the date on the dime. We have got some pocket knives here that I picked out that I think will show a couple of cool things. Got a, not even sure what brand this is, but it's a pruning style knife. Says Kloss on it. And then we've got a brand new Charade Barlow, so that you can see what a factory edge looks like. My old Boy Scout buck, lockback, patterned after the buck 110. And then we've got one of my pocket knives, and this screen keeps going off. A pocket knife of just a little slip joint that I made, oh, I don't know, a year or two ago, something like that. And then if we need them, we have got a pile of mostly pocket knives here. And if we have to, heck, we'll get into some of the, the shop kitchen type knives, and we'll just have a good old time. So anyway, so first thing that we're going to look at is the factory edge. Let's get you right up here nice and close. We will look at a factory edge here on this Charade. This Charade Barlow. Alright, so, and You know, I don't remember what lenses that I have in the microscope to be able to tell you what power it is that we're looking at. All that I can tell you is that we're going from, oh, I can't take that one. We're looking at an edge bevel. You can see here in person, we're looking at something that's, you know, from the sharpening, where the blade finish ends and your sharpening marks start. This right here is going to be your blade finish. That is where the sharpening marks start, and then that there is the very, very edge. Okay, so this is on the lowest power. Let's crank it up a little bit. Bring you back in focus, sorta. We'll just go all the way up. Where are we at here? Maybe not. Let's come back up. Okay, there's the edge. Let's zoom all the way in and then focus it. I'm going the wrong way. Aha, here we go. Okay, let's pull this back just slightly. Okay, so that there is the factory edge at the highest magnification that we've got here, which, like I said, I don't even remember what it is. And let's double check this camera, make sure you're seeing what I'm seeing. Okay, and we need a pointer instead of my grubby, dirty fingers. Okay, so this stuff right here, that is your blade finish. Okay, that's what you see with the naked eye when you look at the side of the blade, whether it's a mirror polish or a satin or hand sanded or patinaed or whatever, right? This right here is a transition line in between the blade finish and your edge bevels. How about that? There we go. This right here is your edge bevel. Okay, this is the part that contacts the stone while you are sharpening. All right. This right here is the very, very edge. This is the part that contacts your work when you go to cut something. All right. So this being a factory edge, we're pretty sure it was done by machine. You know, they're not going to pay somebody to sit there and hand sharpen every single knife. So this was done. You can tell these lines right here go up and down. Okay, so this was made on a grinder, so probably a wheel or a belt grinder, something like that. So what they were doing is, this one's got a nice red handle and flashy blade, so they were holding the blade like this as the wheel was going past. So that's why all your scratch marks are straight up and down. If you were sharpening on a stone like this, then the scratch pattern would be this way. Okay, or you know, I mean, that's just the way that they were doing it. So probably when they sharpen this blade, they you know, first they ground the blade bevels, then they put the blade finish on, then they come back and they sharpen just the edge on a different grinder. All right. And you can tell that because all of this is real nice and smooth, and this transition line right here is pretty much straight and looks really nice. All right, probably what they did, I would guess, is they sharpened this up to a burr on the machine, and then switched over to like a buffing wheel, or yeah, probably a buffing wheel or like a leather belt or something like that to knock the burr off, because you don't see any burr up in here. All right, the burr is where the two pieces of metal meet. Let me grab my burr. Well, the burr is where two pieces, your two planes, meet together at the point, and then at that burr, the little bit of metal gets weakened and it gets pushed off to the side. Okay? But you don't see any of that up in here. And here in a little bit, I'll show you what a burr looks like. And then you'll have an idea kind of what to look for when you're actually sharpening. So anyway, so this is a factory edge on a Charade Barlow. This is just as you get it right out of the box. You can see it's nice and clean. These grind marks go from your transition all the way to the very edge. And then there's a little bit of polishing right at the very edge, which is why I think that they ground it and then hit it on the buffer. Okay, so that's a fresh edge. Now let's look at an edge that is no longer fresh anymore, and it has some, it's reflecting light. So let's back out of this a little bit. There's our dime to kind of let us know where we are. Okay. So this here is going to be the pruning knife, a little pruning pocket knife. Okay, let's turn it around a little bit. Okay. Right there is the part that I wanted to show you. Let's see if we can get it stuck into this little piece of clay. And then let's see if we can up the magnification a little bit. Aha. Oh, look at that. Man, this thing's going to work out great. I'm going to get to show you guys all kind of stuff. Guys, gals, women and children, anybody that's interested in sharpening. Okay, so we are looking at this knife edge straight down like this. Okay? Now I understand that not everybody's going to have a fancy microscope set up like this. Okay? I mean, you know, I'm 40 years old. I've been sharpening knives since I was about, I don't know, 6 or 7, something like that. And, you know, had to play an awful lot with what worked, what didn't work, what seemed sharper, what didn't, you know, and just kind of figure all this stuff out. You know, I just got this camera this microscope less than a year ago, so this is very, very exciting to me to be able to shorten everybody else's learning curve. Okay, so I need a pointer. All right, so inside this little red box that I can't figure out how to get rid of, you see where it's reflecting light. Okay. Right in this part right here, you can see that is just, I mean, there's a big old bright spot, right? And then you come down into here, and that bright spot is an awful lot less. It's still there, but it's less. You come way down into here, and here's a spot where you can't see light reflecting at all, okay? This is sharp. Where you can't see light, that means that it's sharp. There's no damage or anything there. So where you can't see light, that edge is coming together perfectly. All right. Anywhere where you see light reflecting, there's damage. All right. Whether it's from, hitting a staple while you're opening up a box, or striking some sparks off of a ferro rod, or whatever kind of damage. We can't tell what kind of damage from this view, but we can tell that there is damage and that it is dull right there. Okay. So when I tell you look for reflecting light, that's what you're seeing, is these little flat spots. And you'll be able to see this, you know, really easily with the naked eye. You might not see a flat spot like that, but you'll definitely be able to tell that there's light glinting off of that edge, and that's how you know, okay, this is not sharp yet. All right, that's one way to know anyways. So let's see. We're at 14 minutes. We're going to go ahead and these are going to be long videos, guys. I'm sorry about it, but that's just kind of the way it is. So while we're here, you can kind of look a little bit more, examine the rest of this edge. This part right here, oh, get a little bit better. That is, I mean, I can kind of see that it looks inset a little bit. Okay, so that right there is probably where somebody hit a staple with this blade. In fact, let's zoom in a little bit more, just kind of as we go. I'm not sure how close this is going to get us. I mean, I'm already amazed and thinking that that we are mighty dang close. There we go. Maybe now you can see him a little bit better. See this part right here, how it's narrow at the top, narrow at the bottom, and kind of wide in the middle? That's, like I said, that looks like somebody hit a staple, or it's not very deep in the side of the blade, but it's an impact type of damage to the edge. So anyway, so now what we're going to do is I've got some pencils. I love using pencils as training aids for sharpening, okay, because everybody knows, everybody's familiar with you know, a number 2 pencil, okay? You know how you know what a sharp pencil looks like, what a dull pencil looks like, and how that translates into how thin or thick of a line that the pencil makes on the piece of paper that you're writing on. You also know that if you put too much pressure on the end of that pencil, let's come over here, if you have that pencil and you put too much downwards pressure on it, the tip snaps off really easy. Or if you turn it sideways, you can shade. You know the amount of pressure to get that pencil to work properly. Everybody knows about pencils. So pencils make great aids for sharpening. Okay, so what we were just looking at was reflecting light on an edge. So let's see. Push all the way back out. Okay, so since we just looked at a dull knife edge, you can see the same thing here on this pencil. And I really ought to have the, bring this up some. There. Okay. So this right here is a dull pencil. Alright, you can see how rounded over it looks. There's some shiny spots on top, but you can definitely tell how rounded everything is. Okay, now let's look at that from the side view. Alright, now see if I can hold steady enough here. I'm not going to be able to, so we'll pull it to the side and then bring you down some. Okay, now see how we've got these planes going right here, just like the edge bevels, you know, on your pocket knife, right? And see how the edge, or it doesn't come to a point. That means this part of the pencil has just been worn away. The same thing happens with a knife edge. Now let's come up here and look at a freshly sharpened point. Now I took this point, and just to make it as clear as I could, I sharpened it in the mechanical pencil sharpener, and it didn't come all the way down to a point, so I sharpened it up a little bit by rubbing it on some 400 grit sandpaper. Okay, so you see how that comes to an absolute point? There's a little bit of dust on the end of it, but that is what we're after when we sharpen a knife. We want this nice, 2 planes, nice and even, coming right down to a very, very fine point. Let's see. There we go. See how fine of a point that is? Now let's turn that up. And we're coming out of focus. And back into focus. Okay. Now see how you cannot see any reflecting light on this? You can't see anything. All you see is dark. You know, there's no shiny spots. I think that little bit right there is just some dust. Now what you can kind of see here is, or at least I can see it, I hope you're going to be able to see it. Okay, so we have this dark circle in the middle, and then we have the lighter circle, you know, around the edge. So this right here is the wood of your pencil. This is the graphite, or lead, I guess, in an older one. And you can see how it comes up here, and then right around in here or so, there's a slight change on the angle. That's where I hand sharpened it with 400 grit sandpaper to bring it to a complete point. That complete point is right about in there, but it's not reflecting light. You can't see it. So that pencil is as sharp as that pencil's likely to get. So, like I said, that is going to be, that's what I talk about when I say look at the edge and see if that edge is reflecting light off of anything. Where it's reflecting light, it's not sharp. The edge is either bent over, or it's been chipped out, or it's been impacted, where that one instance that we had, where the steel had actually been pushed in like a mushroom you know, like mushroomed out, like you hit the head of a pin and, you know, mushroomed it out. That's what's happening to your edge. Okay, so I hope that was about as clear as mud. This is a 20-minute video already, so I'm going to go ahead and call this one good, and then the next one is going to be okay, now that we know what dull looks like and we know what sharp looks like, whether it's reflecting light or not, now we're going to go the biggest indication of where that edge is, and that is the burr. And so we're going to shoot another video about the burr here in just a little bit. This is Joe Calton with CaltonCutlery.com. Hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you stay tuned for the next one, because it's even some more exciting stuff, and we will see you here in about 5 minutes.